Governor J.B. Pritzker tonight is calling for President Trump to be removed, asking for the 25th Amendment to be invoked. It is in response to President Trump telling military leaders earlier today that, quote, dangerous cities like Chicago should be used as a training ground for the military. Our political reporter Marianne Ahern with the story.
I've never walked into a room so silent before this.
President Trump today meeting with military leaders with a bold reference to Chicago.
We should use some of these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but military. Because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid, stupid.
Sending troops into cities thinking that that's some sort of proving ground for war, or that indeed there's some sort of internal war going on in the United States is just, frankly, inane. And I'm concerned for his health.
Governor Pritzker going even further, suggesting using the 25th Amendment to remove Trump from power.
There is something genuinely wrong with this man, and the 25th Amendment ought to be invoked.
This past Sunday, federal agents downtown arrested a Guatemalan family at Millennium Park. A husband, wife, and their 2 children now in federal custody. Their pastor tells us
the picture of the daughter is what breaks my heart and breaks everybody's heart when you see her clutching onto her doll and seeing that she doesn't know what's going to happen.
We're talking about little girls and little boys being ripped apart from their mother and their father. I mean, this is absolutely abhorrent.
While the governor and the mayor denounce bringing troops to Chicago, Republican state lawmakers, they disagree. They welcome the federal intervention.
The mayor and the governor have refused to hold people accountable to federal law. And
you're betraying your oath to your constituents.
The reality is that our communities are less safe.
No, they're not.
As the Chicago area waits to see what's next, Governor Pritzker is promising legal action if and when the National Guard is sent here without his approval.
Okay, a couple of things there. People have been calling for the 25th Amendment to be invoked for a long time now. This is the first time I have heard a public official, like a governor, making that claim, calling for that action. Also, real quick, Chicago has been under attack from the American Gestapo known as ICE. Look at all of those. Like, this is an American city, and there are masked men covered in body armor carrying assault weapons around our cities. This cannot be normalized in the United States. We must not allow it to be normalized. This shit is insane. This is unhinged. I want to talk more later today and tomorrow about and share clips of some of the things that ICE is doing in communities around this country. Could you imagine if Barack Obama or Joe Biden had masked agents who refused to identify themselves running through our businesses, through our parks, going to our churches, our schools, our hospitals, and snatching people, throwing them to the ground, shooting at members of the press, throwing members of the press to the ground where they have to be taken away on a stretcher in an ambulance? What the fuck are we allowing to go on in the United States of America? This is not okay. This is not normal. This should not be happening here. We've got to remind ourselves and our neighbors of that all of the time, because they are desperate to get you to accept this kind of shit as just like, this is the new America. This is the greatness that Donald Trump promised. Masked thugs, oath boys and proud keepers, sauntering around, living out their fatal live action role play, right? They're now getting their militia wet dream of intimidating regular, decent, everyday people, committing violence with impunity, being above and outside the law, thanks to the fucking Supreme Court. They can just like racially, they can, if you are brown skinned, if you speak Spanish, if you look like you might be working in an industry that may have immigrants in it, the Supreme Court has said that ICE can just fucking do whatever they want. Your constitutional rights do not matter. And also just like, fuck every last one of these Republican elected officials who are going along with this. We've got to remember at the end of the day, who is responsible. Donald Trump, yes, but more than that, far more than that, it is Republicans in Congress who could have stopped this madness at any point in time. Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, they have all committed numerous impeachable offenses. It is Republicans who sit on their hands and lick Trump's boots, refuse to do their job, have betrayed their oath to the Constitution. They are betraying democracy and their constituents. Congress could have stopped this madness at any point in time, and they still could going forward. They are choosing not to. Every Republican in the House and the Senate owns what is happening in this country right now. They're not just going along with this, they are pushing this. They are not just appeasers, they are collaborators. Okay, getting back to the 25th Amendment thing. Section 4 of the 25th Amendment is about involuntary transfer. It's about when the president is no longer fit to serve. Go watch the video I posted on my YouTube earlier today about how Trump seems less and less in touch with reality. And we could talk about the other ways it's illegal for Donald Trump to declare there is a war from within and that he will use troops against American civilians in American cities. He wants to create a civil war. He wants to use our military against American civilians for disagreeing with the illegal actions that he's taken for we don't really know what, just because he has decided that they are democratic cities. Fact that a sitting president would make that claim, I agree with Governor Pritzker. That's evidence that he is not qualified to rule. Something is deeply wrong with him if he would say that in front of our military leaders. There are innumerable other ways that Trump is clearly unfit to rule. But I think it's really interesting that this is the first time we've seen a governor come out and say this. Is there popular support here that could be built for that? What would it look like to have that happen, to have Donald Trump removed? And whether or not that is something that actually will come to pass, whether or not it's right doesn't really matter in this country right now, right? Whether or not something is legal and justifiable. Again, Trump has committed innumerable impeachable offenses. So is J.D. Vance, so is Marco Rubio. But, whether or not something should be done, is legal, is possible, very much irrelevant if we don't see people who are willing to act on it. And every Republican in the House and the Senate, once again, complicit with the regime and also abdicating their responsibility to uphold their oath to the Constitution. But I think it's important that we have these conversations like, hey, if we had normal governance happening, if we had democratic norms upheld, if we had the laws upheld, Trump would have been impeached. He would be impeached right now. He would be removed from office. Also, the 25th Amendment applies, right? We should be saying like, hey, this is what should be happening if America was operating, functioning as normal. I agree with Governor Pritzker. It's good to remind everybody we are living in a time where the government is not functioning normally. It's not normal to have masked agents terrorizing our cities. It's not normal and it's not legal. Likewise, it's not normal and it's not legal for the president to put the military in our cities and use American civilians for, I think he said, training exercises. And then he went on to say there was a war from within and that he wanted to use the military against American civilians. That's not normal. Likewise, it is not normal for Congress to abdicate their responsibility, to betray their oath, and fail to impeach when they should, and fail to invoke the 25th Amendment when they should. So thanks, Governor Pritzker, for bringing that up.